September 24, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It's a pretty much a reminder of what happened yesterday with this well, yesterday was this really crazy choppy price action. It was really hard to read yesterday. Today wasn't that much. I mean, it was better, but it didn't really offer up that many setups. It looked like almost like a W structure. It was just also very choppy. The only economic data that came out was around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. I guess right where the sell-off occurred. It was the CB consumer confidence. And then afterwards, it just kind of, well, got really choppy, really ugly. There weren't too many trade setups that I could find. So I'm just going to go to where I found trades, or where I thought there were setups. Pre-market wise, there's a rally, a sell-off, kind of an ugly, choppy sell-off. It's hard to really know what's going on if you're trying to trade the pre-market. On the open, it looked like it was a spike and a channel downwards. And then it was, well, kind of a really gradual down channel. I tried to find a good entry in any of this, but there wasn't really any clean second entries. There were rejections off the EMA. Technically, you have a new low here. You have a first entry short followed by a second entry short, but the second entry short I mean, this is the signal bar. It was just a little iffy. The trigger bar, which is this guy, closed pretty high up, kind of far from the lows, so it was hard to know what to do. I mean, if you trusted your down channel pretty well, then you might just say there's two key entry points, like a second entry short, but there's a bad signal bar, and then there's getting a rejection off the EMA and top of the orange down channel. But I saw that. I wasn't really sure, so I left it alone. And I moved down and then sold off pretty far from the EMA. Break of the green down channel, tested the new low. First entry short, pull back. Technically, the second entry short is made here, but I saw it as a bigger visual. First entry short, second entry short. So not really a good signal bar. I didn't trust this orange, I didn't trust this orange up channel that much because I only had 2 touches at this point. And it was debatable whether this was the high or it was actually higher up to here. So I actually left it there. It's this consolidation range, and it creates what I think is kind of a setup, but it's almost setup. So it had an overshoot here, and I thought I was going to do another overshoot here and break back in, but then it started consolidating in this trading range. I saw this new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. I like the second entry short, but it's too risky a trade in my opinion, so it's an almost trade. It came up, made a double top, then flushed and engulfed the entire, well, this would be the signal bar, and the test of the high was 1 attempt, 2 attempt, but it was also with an overshoot. So maybe there's another. So this is what you see in real time. Confirm second entry short. Maybe there's going to be another push up, or if you're thinking of going short, you don't have that much room to the low where the support of this trading range is. So it's kind of leave it alone. Look for a lower high, but you don't get one. Then prices move, breaks out, moves up this green up channel, and I thought this is actually a possible trade because it's a break of this green up channel. First entry long, pullback on the same candle, which is this guy, made a second entry long, but in real time, it also made a new low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short at the close. It closed right at the open. So technically, the second entry short has failed, coupled with a first entry long, hidden second entry long. You could think of it as a trade because this signal bar is pretty decent. And it's kind of like a break of this green up channel, wants to test the high. So you have enough room to where I thought the resistance was up here. So that would maybe maybe worthwhile to take that trade. Then flushes down. The first entry long pullback, second entry long. I saw this higher low, but I didn't like that it was in what I perceived was a trading range. So it's already pushing at the highs of the range. So I saw it in real time. I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. I knew what I was looking at. I saw a higher low, but I don't know enough to trust it because it looks like it's hitting potential resistance. So it could chop sideways more, but it actually rallied, pushes up. I don't really see any clean second entries. There's a new high, first entry long, second entry long, maybe, except this doji, not really a doji, but the body of this bar, the signal bar, is rather far from the EMA, and I didn't have this yellow up channel established until later, where I kind of drew this trend line here. Kind of prices keep moving up, and I found this, what I call an almost trade again. So it's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is a pretty good setup on its own, in that it's bouncing off what I think is this yellow up channel support, which has that going for it. Unfortunately, it's going to run out of room to the highs because this is the high of this candle is 57.8075, and the high of this candle is 57.8175. So you have exactly 4 ticks from here to here. And this, depending on how you drew it, because I was playing with various ideas like, is this a micro trading range right here, potentially? So it could chop sideways, but you do have this yellow up channel going for it. I wanted this break not to have happened, then I think I would have trusted it even more. But it's fitting pretty well, except there was a violation here. So let me just kind of scroll out a little bit. I was playing with it at the time to try to include this guy not have an overshoot. But then what happened is you don't get as many nice clean touches, or what I consider as nice. So I had to treat it kind of like an overshoot, and it looked like it kind of fit a little bit better here and here. So it's a little ambiguous whether you actually had it bounce off or actually had a small break. I had it a small break, so I couldn't really quite trust this. It was just like falling short of a decent trade. When prices move up, you have a clear overshoot here because I was playing with the idea of maybe it's actually up here, but I wasn't too keen on the idea of all this space up here. So it just fit better here and treating this as an overshoot. Came back in, you have a first entry long, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but if you go by the strict count, you actually have a first entry long here, pullback, second entry long. Count resets, first entry long, pullback, second entry long here. So this second entry long here, I thought was a possible trade because prices are bouncing off the bottom of this yellow up channel, and it is coming from an overshoot. So it looks like one leg down, pullback, second leg down, it fails, and in real time you see it fail with a really strong rejection by the bulls. It rallies, pushes back above the EMA because previously the EMA is acting as a support since here. So it didn't really breach the EMA except for briefly here, kind of spiked below there, but you can say pretty much the EMA is holding, and then it breaks through, and this is like a strong rejection of that breakthrough. So like a first entry long pullback, second entry long visual, decent signal bar. Well, this is the signal bar actually. Good trigger bar because it pushed up and engulfed this guy with enough room to scalp out. I mean, with technically 4 ticks, but up to here is a little higher because I wasn't sure where this top of this trading range was. So it was either here. Later, I dragged it down to here, I think, because it fit better when you go see further price action. But even if it was like, let's say it was here, which I was originally thinking, you have enough room for a quick scalp. So I thought that was a possible trade. Fortunately, I didn't take it. It pushes, you have fail breakout. At this point, I wasn't sure if this is the trading range or could the bottom of the trading range actually be closer to here, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, extending it out. Wasn't too sure. I saw this green up channel break, test the new high. It's also a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. The second entry short here, again, I considered an almost trade. I do like that it broke the green channel, pushed up and tested the highs already. If this blue line is the top of this range, this trading range, because I wasn't really sure how to encapsulate all this because previously, trading range looked like it was here, then later maybe actually here and here. Nevertheless, you have a breakout here, and it looks like it's pushing back through. It made a double top and flushed. The thing I didn't like was this trigger bar, it does engulf this guy, this green signal bar, but I needed the body to close more strongly, like down here, because since it looked like there's a lot, this is a substantial amount of stem, so it shows that the buyers were able to push back up. So in real time, yes, it's a fail breakout. Most likely it's moving back into range, but it's just a signal bar just left me a little bit suspicious of the setup because even though it could be a high probability setup, a high probability setup is not a guaranteed setup. It could still fail because high probability, even if you take all high probability trades, you're still going to lose because every so often those outlier incidences, like those 10% chance of actually happening or 5% chance, they'll happen. So your high probability trade could fail. So I wasn't sure if that was the case here. So I felt it was just better to leave it alone. Prices move, kind of pushes down. It's just chopping in this big range, right? I saw a new low, first entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar. Didn't quite reject off of the top of the range. So I wasn't really sure, left it alone. It's choppy and actually take my one and only trade after pretty much the whole day has gone by. I found this orange down channel coming down. There's a strong spike, push down, breaking through all of my trading ranges. Well, I think the overall dominating trading range might have been this guy and this guy. So if I were to draw it in, it'd actually be right here. So it broke all the way through, push down, first attempt short, push up. EMA is starting to show a bearish bias, pushes above and flushes down. So in real time, what I see is first entry short, second entry short, it's confirmed second entry short. I like this candle, which is what I needed this candle to do, or actually, excuse me, which is what I needed this candle to do. This one right here, this one did it. It engulfed the whole thing and the body closed below the low of this guy. This guy closed above, so that left me a little suspicious. This one closed pretty low, so I liked it. So the next candle printed, it opened here, it flushed up. I was waiting and watching, and I said, I think I like this trade. I'm going to put it at the lows of this original signal bar. So it's right here, this little magenta arrow. As you can see, I got filled, flushes down, gives me my profit target. I did not go for a runner, so I took all the contracts off right away because today it wasn't really a strong trending day. Like unless you got in here, but the previous price action was just like really, really choppy. So I didn't trust to trade a runner because I would just, might as well take the full profit target off instead of just having a little bit less. And I was okay with that because it was also late in the day, considering I had sat through all of this, watching this noise and slow price action. So I took the entire position off. But if I was trading a runner, so my stop was originally here. When it flushed and gave me a profit target, I would have dragged it down to one tick below this guy, so it would have been here. And as you can see, this candle likely would have stopped out my runner anyways, because it would have been one tick below here, would have opened here, flashed up, taken out my runner, then continued down. So it's better that runner just kind of got taken out with the entire group right here, instead of just trying to scalp out a little bit more. When prices move down, it gets, again, really choppy. It's a first entry short, second entry short, failed second entry short. Here, you can say it's an overshoot. Maybe there's going to be a reversal. But by the time this candle closes or on its way up, it's a really quick trade you would have to have jumped on. But even then, it's a first entry short, second entry short failure. I would want to see a higher low confirmation. And you technically get a higher low right here. So it's like push down and then you get a confirm higher low. But this just doesn't look that clean anymore because it's like not the best signal bars. But prices would have chopped around. Like if you did take a long after you see a confirm higher low, let's say you put your entry up here, you wouldn't have gotten filled. You probably would have missed a trade unless you were aggressive and you put it lower, but then your stop likely would have been below this guy, and this candle would have taken you out, if not this one. And if you still had it even lower, this candle probably would have taken you out before it started moving all the way up. So this is kind of a tricky spot. Then prices kind of move, consolidates, and it kind of pushes into the close. And the last 10 minutes wasn't all that exciting today. But overall, today itself wasn't all that exciting. There weren't that many trade setups that I could find. And the only trade that I did take was kind of late in the day. So hopefully that was helpful.